Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Brigid. I'm Brigid Burke, and today is the 7th of September, and it is, what time is it? Well, obviously it's 7 in the morning. It's the 7th, it's 7 on the 7th, that's what it is. And good morning, Alex. Yeah, I'm very much, I'm feeling quite unprepared this morning because I got up a little after 6, and I got some kind of very weird messages this morning, and they have more to do with me, but there's just certain aspects of them that I've been thinking about, but in terms of how I want to talk about them, I'm not entirely clear. Maybe we'll do some readings as we go along, and it will become clearer to me what I should say about this to sort of the group more at large. Because I've been in this kind of mode where it's funny. I've got this school I'm starting, of course, as we know, and I'm already teaching classes. And I have a class that I'm teaching again next week. In fact, somebody just booked an appointment for next Saturday or rescheduled for next Saturday, and I hadn't blocked it off on my calendar. One of the things that annoys me about Wix is that it doesn't coordinate with my Apple calendar. So I have to go in and remember to manually add everything every single time. I have to add it in 3 places, which is driving me nuts. And so I didn't actually remember to put it on the Wix calendar, so I have to contact this person. Good morning, Pat. I have to contact the person who was rescheduled for today and tell her that I can't do her next Saturday because I think she's actually 3 hours away. So I don't think, she might be able to get up early in the morning and do it, but next weekend's not going to work. So, so I've just kind of been in this mode lately where I have a lot to do, where I'm doing a lot of teaching. I've just gone back to teaching at university. I've kind of got all of this stuff that I'm doing. I've been working on the website for the school, but Wix in its usual way. I'm actually to a point where I almost want to change the theme again, but this particular theme is good because it literally is something that's set up to do online classes and to do live streams and to do stuff like that. So I have to, I'm trying to work within it, but just trying to edit the simplest things. There's a cover image on it that I'm like, okay, this is not the cover image I want on here. I want my school logo. I want this. And it's just not letting me change anything. And it's really frustrating the, what me. But I have to really spend some time getting that done today because the clock is ticking. And if I want people to register for the October 2nd class and have time, if people want to make payments to make those payments, then I need to actually have that set up. So, so it's kind of it's just trying to do all this stuff and trying to do it quickly, but also not in a slapdash kind of a way. I don't want this to be, I want to make sure I have everything up on the site without it being too verbose, just clear about what we're doing, clear about the mission, clear about everything else. But there's some text in there that I need to produce or to write or to do different things with. So, so I'm just basically trying to get the site set up. That's got to be a priority today. And I do have one Rouhani session today, which is fine. It's kind of in the middle, and then I've got to finish getting my house together because I actually have, and I've got to get the everything together for the course tomorrow evening on the intuitive development class, which is going to be on spirit guides and contacting spirit guides. So I want to make sure I have all those materials together. Plus, I've got to finish cleaning my house because, like I said, I will have a client in tomorrow. So there's a lot of stuff going on. The point of me bringing all of this up, really, is just that I feel like Azrael is pulling me into this headspace that's completely away from all of it. He literally keeps using this one word or this one phrase, almost come away from all of that. And I'm like, I can't. You're that's mutually exclusive things. I can't. Because he wants me, it's sort of like I'm being, what happens to me, okay, I guess I should explain this. One of the things that's happened to me, and people who have known me for years know this about me, I kind of get it, every now and again when I get creatively inspired, especially to do writing or to do certain things, I get into this headspace and it's my mind doesn't want to focus on anything else. And I feel like the stories that are coming in now are somewhat Azrael inspired. He's kind of fueling that whole narrative, I guess, that's trying to put itself on paper or put itself in some kind of a form. And, and that's fine. I mean, I can spend time doing that, but it means like I'm up late at night. I'm doing things because I have all this other stuff to do, to maintain, to be, I still have to, I still have to fund everything that I'm doing. I still have to eat. I still have to pay my bills. I still have to do all these things. So I can't just be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to take 2 weeks off from doing everything. That's not feasible. So I have to find a way to integrate everything. But he's not been really making that easy. And I said to him, this morning, I said, you do realize that I have to get this stuff done. And he's like, yeah. I said, and do you care? He's like, no. So I was like, I don't know. It's been kind of a weird thing with him. And, cause I think, and, angelic priorities are a bit different from ours. So anyway, I'm just trying to, work through that. I've just kind of determined that today I have to, they tend to do that, but I don't know why. Well, at least my guides, they're like, I'm questioning you. Yeah, I know. They sometimes just kind of have a thing, and I understand that there's a sort of a tension between your guides. Your guides do know what's best for you. I mean, a lot of times because they're taking a vantage point, just like the guru knows what's best for you often if you are in that kind of guru-disciple relationship, because they see the situation from an angle that you don't. What you think you need to focus on, they may say, no, you don't, it's not as important that you focus on that. But I don't feel this is a situation where that's the case. I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe what he's saying is important and that I need to do that, but this is also important. So how do I fit those two things together? And I think, but I think that more generally, not just me and my stuff here, I think it's a general problem that people can have when, especially if you're a very intuitive or a very creative person, where you can be pulled in a certain direction when you have certain things that you are responsible for doing. Like if you have a day job, you can't just be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna, if you don't have the vacation time or whatever, you're not gonna say like, oh, well, I'm just gonna take 2 weeks off of work and disappear. Like you can't, I guess you could do that, but then you wouldn't have a job, right? So you have to, it's a question of saying, okay, how do I work this within the structure that I have, or if the structure needs to change, what way do I need to adapt it? We sometimes get forced to reprioritize, and when we're keeping ourselves open to new possibilities, and that's where the tension is, and so I feel like the tension is like, okay, I know that maybe I'm not supposed to do things the old way, but at the same time, I do know there's some definite things that I need to do. It's not like, oh, you can just stop doing that from now on. You don't need to do that anymore. It's like, no, I definitely have to do this. Please hold, discernment need, my motto lately, haha. Yeah, exactly. It's just trying to discern. Well, discernment, that's a good word actually for it, because it's kind of like, trying to discern what's important. And then it's sort of like yesterday I had that brutal headache most of the day. It went away by the afternoon, thankfully, so I was able to do some work on the promos for the astrology class and stuff like that. In the evening, I'm realizing, and again, time is getting away from me. I usually post these particular live streams to YouTube, and I'm already today's going to be 5 days behind. And I'm like, how did I get this far behind? I was literally on the day. I had everything posted, and now I'm like, so I have to try to post that stuff this morning. And it's just, and then there's been a lot of little details. So I'm also kind of stuck between, I want to connect with friends, because this is the month, like I have a lot of people have birthdays and things. But everybody is so, I think a lot of people are kind of, like, people are leaving me WhatsApp messages and stuff, and it's taking me like 4 days to get back to them. And it's only like a 2-minute message. So I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. I should be able to kind of keep up with stuff like that, it's just, I should be able to keep up with it, but I can't, so I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to negotiate. So, okay, negotiating when you're kind of in a more introverted headspace. Oh my goodness, I could so relate to that. Yeah. And then you're kind of in this headspace where you have the urge, you're seized by the idea, you're possessed by the by the creative idea or by the thing. But you also are aware that, there's just other things that have to get done. So I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with the inner and the outer here. Now, as I've said, the cards that came up for me this morning on this, the main one was projection, okay, which was in this deck, and I don't even know if it's on top right now. But the projection card, what it basically is saying is that oh wait, is that it right there? Yeah, there it is. I see it. Yeah, projection. That was the card that came up this morning. And really what this card is about, I mean, those of us who know anything about psychology know that projection is that phenomenon where or basically you look at somebody like you're looking in a mirror. When you see someone, it's like you're seeing yourself reflected back. And so if you think, oh, that person, let's just as an example, is it maybe the liminal side? They tried to shed light to us. Maybe. I mean, I think, like I said, I think when we're in transition, we're all kind of in that space, but the question would be, they might be trying to shine light on the direction that we're supposed to go in. But to me, my problem that I'm having right now is I'm like, okay, there's a direction, a very clear direction that I've been given, and I'm working on that. I mean, we've got all of this arranged. I've got faculty. I've got all this stuff going on. And now it's like, oh, stop all that right now and work on writing. And I'm like, I can't really do that. So what I was saying about projection is that a lot of times we look outwards and we look at the environment. Just for example, let's just say we don't hear from someone. We think, oh, that person, hurry up and wait. Yeah, exactly. They don't really, they're not talking to me because, they're annoyed with the fact that I haven't been reaching out or something like that. Let's just take something like that. And then, but really what that is more like you're feeling guilty about the fact that you haven't reached out. It's not really them because they're just kind of like, oh no, I figured you were busy. So that's just one example. I mean, we can have these things where we end up carrying the expectations of other people but then we kind of internalize, like we assume what people's reaction is going to be. We assume that that somebody's going to have a negative reaction to what we're saying, and it's like they're probably just like, well, no. I mean, especially if they're friends and they know you, they're just like, yeah, I totally know you're like that. Like my friend JR would always say to me, he'd always be like when I used to even work at my full-time job, and I would get into these modes, and he's like, oh, you're in that writing space. He's like, nope, you need to just go and do that. And actually, weirdly, kind of being in an office makes it a little bit easier, because if I'm sitting at a computer and I've got all my work caught up for the day, for the job, which was most of the work at that point, wasn't even that, as far as I was concerned, wasn't that important. There was no major projects or anything. Then I could just sit there and I could work on it while I'm at my desk, and it just looks like I'm working because I have my own office and nobody can tell, right? So all the things that my coworkers are going to find out, but they all do the same thing. So, that it's kind of, but when you're at home and you're responsible for all of it, it's not like, well, it doesn't matter, I can do this and I'm still going to get a paycheck, right? So yeah, it's kind of negotiating the outward expectation and what we might be called to do internally. And lately, I've been kind of, and again, I'm still seeing there's so much that's coming up around this eclipse energy, so much that's coming up around it that I'm like, okay, I'm talking about it. And actually, even when I was doing some of these cards this morning, I mean, I was pulling up a lot of cards of, the lunar eclipse card kept coming up. I mean, I think the solar eclipse is important with regard to the school for me, but the lunar eclipse kept coming up. And I'm like, I don't know. I know eclipses bring changes more generally, and I don't think the change I don't think is just about me, because there's like I said, there's so many outer planet changes right now and shifts, so that's something, the Mercury, Venus, Mars, that tends to be the stuff that affects us because it's closer to us, it's closer to the Earth. Those other things tend to be more collective in their inflection. I mean, they do affect us individually, but they also affect the bigger picture. So I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, okay, what is this big picture? What's this bigger picture that's shaping up here? Like I'm sitting here saying, well, what what exactly are we looking at, you know? And that's just it. And then, so then the mind starts to get involved and starts to try to anticipate what that might be about, or trying to figure out what the game plan might be here. But of course, then they say to you, no, don't try to figure the game plan out. Just trust us, you know? So anyway, I've been kind of toying with that kind of stuff this morning. I'm going to pull a few cards to see if we have a particular thing connected to this theme, because one of the things I was sort of asking about just as I was going live was like, well, okay, if we recognize that we may have certain creative urges, or that we may feel that we are being pulled in a particular direction by our guides, and yet we're very well aware that we have deadlines, other adulting stuff, or other things, like if there's certain goals we're trying to manifest, there's certain things that we know we need to do, and we may have a certain time frame in which we need to do them. And when there's a tension between those two things, between the inner and the outer, even though I've said there's probably not really much of a difference between one, I did a card reading yesterday and realized I think I'm getting more on the big picture than just me. Yes, not know the game plan, being like, just put me in, coach. Oh, there you go. There's a good metaphor. Yeah, like just you're going to be put in the game when it's your time. In the meantime, you feel like you're kind of benched, right? It's like you're sitting there. Oh, we pulled Ace of Wands right now. Okay. So this definitely is indicative of, new start, new energy. I can't help feeling like the whole, I keep hearing Neptune and Aries too. So I have a feeling this is going to have a lot to do with what we're moving into with 2025. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. So the Nine of Pentacles is about being secure. It's about being independent. Okay. And also abundance, having enough. Nine of Pentacles says, I have enough to share with other people. You know, I have enough money. I have enough, whatever I have enough of, it's like, I have enough for me. So but now that what I'm kind of getting is like, okay, you want to share with other people, but you also have to make sure you have enough for yourself. It's that kind of a thing. So, there is kind of that sense of things. What's this? Okay, so now we have the King of Swords. Yeah, we've got that strong mental energy, that strong feeling of, I need to be decisive here, and I need to be clear on what the direction is. But then we have the World. Okay, so the World is, something that's coming to an end. There's a cycle that's coming to an end, and and that's kind of it too, because I'm feeling like, okay, yeah, if the cycle's coming to an end, then that means we want to be closing up and closing out. Just like we talk about, even with energy work, there's this idea that when you're done, you close up, you close down. If you do magical work, you close the area you're working in. That you don't want to leave things open and unfinished and loose ends, I think, as they'll say. So then the question becomes like, well, what do we do? Especially if we feel like we're being pulled into the new space before the loose ends are tied up. I think that's part of it too. And well, interestingly, we've got the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles sort of indicates, to me that's a card of resources, or having resources to do something. And then we have the Emperor here too. So I don't know. That's interesting to me. Because what that implies to me is almost that things are more under control than we think they are. That if we're being pulled away, it's because, things are going to get sorted, or somehow things are going to take care of themselves. I've talked about that a lot with the Guru, where I've said about her that, you would walk into something, you would be like, oh, okay, this is what we have to do. This is the first people we have to meet. Here's the plan. Here's this, here's that. And every single aspect of it would get completely screwed up. And there'd be people hysterical and screaming, and you'd get involved in all this chaos of things that had absolutely nothing to do with you, and all this stuff would go on. And in the end, somehow everything got done the way it needed to be. Somehow everything got done. So I don't know. Again, there may be this. I sometimes feel like this is kind of the test of letting go. Oops, I don't want to drop these. Okay. So let's see what we have here. Oh, interesting. We've got the Grand Cross, which is the provoking card. Okay, this is the card that's provoking us. And then there's the resistance, the pushback that we have. We just had that Grand Cross in August. That was that big thing that happened up until the Aquarian full moon. And we have it with Virgo. I analyze. So yeah, what's Virgo? Getting things organized, tying up loose ends, right? Getting things, attending to details. Okay? That's Virgo energy. Virgo's also Hermit energy, though, too. And the Hermit card can be literally about that. Remember, we've talked a lot about that withdrawal. That need to kind of pull back and see, see the big picture, see where we're at. And it could just be that we're being provoked to do that in some way. Or that this may actually still be fallout from the Grand Cross, which, again, that was mainly affected the mutable signs, but I feel like that had an effect on everybody. That was a really potent one. Now, some of the other cards that come out here. Okay. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Okay, so we have the 9th house, first of all. This is Sagittarius energy, and this is the house of faith. And it's actually right next to the Jupiter return card. And, yeah, I mean, Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius, so this is interesting. We've got this strong Sagittarian vibe. And so this is about expansion and about expanding our horizons. One of the things that keeps coming into my head is that I really want to get out of the country again and spend some time just focused on writing. I did that last year at Christmas time. I could barely afford to do it, but I did go to England for a couple of weeks and spent some time in Oxford and in London, which are not, I mean, I don't dislike either city, but they're not necessarily my favorite places to stay. But they were just places like, okay, I can reliably go here and I can go out and get stuff. Like, I'm not in the middle of nowhere and having to, I don't know, try to figure out how I'm going to get somewhere to get food or whatever. You know, it was convenient for what I was doing. And so I took that 2 weeks where I literally just, other than going out for meals, I pretty much, and visiting, I visited one or two friends, but I basically stayed in my room and wrote. And I got 3 novels finished. So I'm almost feeling like the urge to do that kind of a thing again. And other people may be feeling this in a different way. But nonetheless, there's this idea, there's this 9th house with Jupiter return. So again, we're constantly seeing these ideas of abundance, like abundance coming in. We saw the Pentacle cards in the other one. But abundance and return can be other things too. This can be learning stuff, expanding our horizons. I mean, 9th house has to do with higher education, right? It has to do with spirituality, with expanding your spiritual boundaries and horizons. But 9th house also requires, one of the things we don't think about a lot of times with Sagittarius energy is that it requires a certain amount of flexibility. Like the person who has strong Sagittarius, if somebody comes to me and says, okay, I need some career advice, I need to know what kind of a job I should go for. If I get strong Sagittarius, I mean, it could imply that that person might be suited to education or something like that. But it also has to do with somebody who needs like a flexible schedule, not somebody who can... who's going to do well in the rigid 9-to-5 kind of setting, okay? That's that kind of energy. It's not a rigid energy. It's one where you have to be flexible and kind of flow with what goes on. Because we're in this Piscean space. Now I have Pisces. And it's interesting because right now, I mentioned Neptune before. Neptune's in Pisces. It's going to be moving into Aries, just like we're going to see a lot of movements into air and fire signs next year. So I don't know. I mean, we may be, but Pisces energy is this strong sense of, like literally the meaning of this card, like if I read this in the book for this deck, is in faith and trust, you must surrender to what is. Okay? You just need to have faith that where you're being, even if you think this is totally the wrong way to go, that somehow you're being guided the right way. So you kind of have to negotiate, be a little bit flexible. Yeah, but we also have Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is the taskmaster. Now Saturn's 10th house stuff. That's Capricorn energy. So we've got this. Saturn has been in Pisces, right? I mean, we've got that kind of energy where it's Saturn is the taskmaster that tells us, you have to put the work in, you have to get these things done, you have to persist in what you're doing. You can't escape what your responsibilities are, right? So that's part of the tension here. And maybe now that I'm looking at it this way, maybe that's kind of what we're saying here. Saturn in Pisces is this, it's that tension between the creative impulse and where our intuition wants to take us. Yes, and Saturn's opposed to the sun right now. Yeah, so there you go. It's, it's making it, I feel like there's that challenge. There's a provocation there, right? There's a provocation to do certain things. And, but then this is interesting. Our next card is Black Moon Lilith. Okay. And Black Moon Lilith is, so that's about knowing that something lurks, that something's kind of in the background. There's something that we're not quite seeing here. I mean, this is the card of what we don't see. Now, Lilith, of course, in the astrological chart has a lot to do with areas where either there is some similarity to Chiron in the way that she functions, because Lilith, if you remember, mythologically, Lilith is the one who's supposed to be the first wife of Adam, and she wants a certain amount of equality with Adam, but he insists that he has to be the one to dominate her, and so she basically, well, she says the ineffable name of God, and she disappears, and then then she becomes kind of associated with demons and demon children and things like that. So yeah, she becomes this monstrous figure, but she's really a betrayed figure, is what she is. So there's those. That's why I say there's some elements of her that are like Chiron, but she's also the element of rebellion. Okay, the way that we rebel against the system that we're in. But there's definitely the sense that there's something, especially with the Piscean energy, there's something around the edges here. And again, when I look at Black Moon Lilith, even though this is not the card of the eclipse, I did get the eclipse card earlier. There is kind of an element here of that energy that's coming up, that's going to reveal something. That, right? And then we've got Pluto as the outcome here. Okay, now again, Pluto retrograding in Capricorn. We got Saturn here, right? And so this may be revealing certain kinds of truths. So as we move ahead with things, and as we're guided in certain directions, it may just be that what's being revealed to us is this is whatever our truth is right now. What is it that and it may not be the thing that we expect it to be. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting collection of cards that kind of jumped out here. But I'm gonna do a 4-card just action spread. So what would be the advice or action for not just me, but anybody who's caught in that kind of a situation where you feel like there's this tension between where you're being drawn and what you feel, or maybe not even what you feel, what you know is something that you have to accomplish, or something that you have to do. Okay. Because I don't know. For me, it's just interesting because it's like the angels are saying, yeah, it isn't important. This is, what you're doing, yes, you need to do this. This is important. Oh, well, we don't want you to do that right now. And I'm like, well, I don't want to give people a week to register for these classes. Like, I want to, I got to get this kind of done. So, okay. So here's the cards. Ooh, wow, interesting. All right. Okay. So, all right. So here's our message here. And where are we starting with? We're starting with the Void Moon card. Okay. The Void Moon means nothing. That's the nothing will come of this situation card. So in other words, there's a sense of nothing meaningful can be done right now. And this is in the environment of the South Node. We're kind of trying to push ahead the way that we did things before. Okay. Because the South Node is about doing it the familiar way. And this is saying that way is not going to lead to anything at this point. So we have to do something different. Now, interestingly, fire element is the advice that it's giving, what it's telling you to do. Okay, let me actually clarify this spread a little bit, because the 4-card action spread starts with where you are, and then the second card is what you should not do. And what you should not do is repeat the past. What you should not do is do it the same way. Which I think that really fits in with the theme we've had this week of stop and think before you move ahead. Last week's readings for Libra through Pisces were all like that as well. They were all saying kind of like, okay, you're ready to go. You're ready to move ahead on stuff. Don't do it yet. What it is telling us to do, okay, we have the fire element card. Okay. Now, fire element is about movement, and it's about sudden movement. Okay. I'm actually going to read this one because I think because there's this one, I always get this one a little bit confused with the Mars one. Yeah, this is 2 Iguan's energy. So it says, there are changes coming in new movement, look for them to be quick. Element fire is about beginnings, passions, how fast we get energy moving. It speaks to how rapidly we react and how long it takes us to accomplish what we set out to do. Fire is burning determination, scorches away impurities, clears a landscape for new growth, and leaving an area healthier and stronger. When it's involved, expect changes to be dramatic in an unforgettable way. A situation is about to be transformed through a wake-up call or a personal epiphany. Okay, so that's the element here. It denotes honesty and suggests you act assertively. You're about to get upfront with someone or vice versa, or at least you should, and this card says to push it. In any event, you will soon understand where you stand as all your cards will be on the table. Then you can expect less mystery. Watch out for bossy people when this card comes up. I'm just going to kind of skip over some of this. Since you're thinking in larger terms, details won't seem to matter much, but it's important to get everything nailed down. You may be tempted to fly by the seat of your pants and rely on spontaneity, and this is not a bad idea. Okay. Fire element says you have good instincts at the moment and will be able to carry it off as long as you are also grounded. Okay, so there's that tension there. Okay, let's see. One of passion. No, so romance is your question. It's a compelling attraction on at least part of you. But don't try to make your love interest jealous. Okay. The fire element is one of new starts, often after the past has been burned away, and denotes a period where you start anew. Be honest in your approach. Arrogance will be your enemy. You will have the zeal to get things done in the way you want. As far as your life is concerned, the pot is being stirred. Okay? And also, show caution with fiery objects. So, yeah, be careful about setting yourself on fire. It's good advice. I've actually just finally cleared all the poison ivy around my fire pit, and now I'm getting ready to use it. But in any case, but here's our outcome. 8th house. Okay? Now, 8th house. What's 8th house? Scorpio energy, right? You see the skull on there. Endings, beginnings. You got Tutankhamun on here as well, his sarcophagus. Endings, beginnings. This is a time of, and we know that 8th house transformations are not mini ones. They're big ones. So this is literally just saying, like, okay, you're going to have an epiphany, and then you need to act on it. So, like I said, but we may be trying to move ahead with certain things and not have all of the information. That's very interesting to me personally with regard to the school stuff, because I'm like, okay, so what exactly does that mean? In any case, we'll push ahead and see what's going on. This is the reason I feel like I haven't been pushing a lot more things lately, because I feel like I keep being stopped from doing that. So in any case, let's move on to our regular deck here. It's just very, just interesting. I'm normally I come in here with something prepared, but as you can see, speaking of spontaneity, I'm just, spontaneously seeing what comes up. But it's been a very strange week with regard to expectation and results. So I'm trying to keep it together. The main thing I've been trying to make a priority, of course, is what my appointments with people, what people need this week. And in terms of Rahani, in terms of, other classes that I'm doing, other things that people have scheduled with me. I've been trying to make that the priority this week, but I do have some other things to get together. Okay, anyway, enough about me. Let's do our reading. Let's just see. So let's try to pull some of this together. We're seeing this element of, right now, the old way just simply not working. And we need to have an epiphany and be inspired to do things a new way, because we're talking about a major transformation. So let's just see. This is making a lot of sense in my world too. Very interesting. Yeah, and I think to a certain degree, we're all going through something like this. It's just it's not going to all be exactly the same. Like, the stuff I'm doing is not the stuff you're doing, but there's still a connection there. And yeah, there's still something that's going on. So let's see what we have here. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. Leave it to the Osho Zen deck to try to really spell it out for you. Okay. So what's our first card? Rebirth. 10 of Swords. Right. And as I've said about this card in the past, you've got the camel, the lion, and the boy. This is a Nietzschean story about how one transfers from one stage to another. The general meaning of this card is that wherever you are right now, whether you're the camel in this contented space and about to roar out like a lion, whether you've been roaring like a lion and now you're about to go back to the innocence of a child, whatever stage you're in, it's saying kind of let it happen. Like there's an ending, and the inner feeling of which we are unaware is the world card again, 21, completion. Something's done. And what this is saying is that inside there's a part of us, whether that's inside of us or whether that's just our guides that know it, or really there might not be a huge differentiation between what we think of as the inner voice and what our guides are telling us. And it's saying, yeah, the old way of doing things is it's just done. It's over. But again, that's more of a sense of, and like I said, we may be in the death throes of something right now, so to speak, in terms of something that's changing in our lives. And the external feeling, we have that Emperor card again, but remember we talked about the rebel the other day. And we also saw Lilith. So there's this idea of rebellion. This is like rebelling against the old expectations, the old life. What is it? Whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. And we have to remember too that it's very easy to let go of things, or maybe, well, I shouldn't say that, maybe not. We would feel that it would be easier to let go of things that are problematic to us. You know what I mean? Things that are painful situations, things where we want to say, okay, that's going to be done and gone, and traumas and stuff like that stuff seems like it's easy to let go. Not that it really is, because it's kind of like our bodies, as I've said, our bodies still have to, decompress from that trauma, still need to get rid of it. But in terms of the way when we think about it, like the idea that that would be lifted from us would be a relief. What's harder is when we have to get rid of things that we are actually comfortable with. That's when the routines that we have that have, I've always done it this way and it's worked just fine. We may be in a space where that's not okay. And yeah, we've got the Eight of Swords right now. So this is the guilt card. So this, again, Eight of Swords, get out of your head about it. We may be overthinking certain things. We may be, the mind may be coming in and trying to control certain things. Now, when the Rebel card shows up, though, when I think of somebody who's actually resisting and fighting the change they're supposed to make, I see more of that Knight of Clouds, that fighting card. This is more like I'm rebelling against the old way. And because the Emperor is the one who's breaking the chains here, okay? He's got these chains. It's breaking the chains of whatever we were tied to. So I don't see that as a card of us resisting. But although the Emperor can also be a call to leadership. Remember, we had that fire card, that assertive action, okay? You're being called, Emperor is Aries energy, right? It's this, you're being called to act and to make a change. But it's saying, but don't get too much in your head about it. Our outcome card here is moment to moment, okay? That's the Two of Pentacles. So this could mean, okay, moment to moment certainly is about living in the present. That's a pretty obvious meaning of that. However, what we also see with this card, this is a Two of Pentacles. And if we think about it, again, Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the person with the Leminskit, the infinity sign, and they're juggling these two pentacles. And a lot of times this has to do with decisions and choices we make, but also with the idea that we may be juggling multiple things at the same time. And we just have to be in the moment and deal with what we need to deal with in the moment. We're still letting this change happen, but as things come up, we deal with them. Okay? And that seems to be the game plan right now for people. Not to get too much in your head about, but I need to do this and this has to happen tomorrow, and if I don't do this by this date and I don't do this and that. It's saying just stay right here and worry about what you have to worry about today. And as different things come up for you, you're kind of being moved into this new space, whatever it is. I think, and the problem that we often have is that we don't, again, we're action orientated. We're like, okay, new space, right? Like, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to get this space in order? And it's saying right now you can't do anything. Right? True, right? Yeah. Right now you can't really do much of anything. It's kind of, you have to let it unfold. You have to let it unfold. And just each day, we go along with whatever our guidance is telling us. That's the thing that you need to focus on today. And I think I think the fact that it's the Two of Pentacles, it doesn't mean discounting the things that we have to get done. But it's saying you're right now, you might be in a bit of a juggling act. So you're best not to make plans beyond a day. And even within a day, you still need to be flexible with those plans because things could shift and change. You just basically, it is actually a very Zen approach. It's kind of like this idea of, okay, I just respond to whatever happening in the moment. With human design, a lot of people, I don't think, okay, I think, I know at least one of you on here is a projector, I think, but there's a lot of people who are generators or manifesting generators. We actually, regardless, even if you are a projector, there's an energy there of waiting for something to happen. Like, it'll always tell you that your strategy in life is to wait for the invitation. Even with generators, who are the kind of the workhorses, the work bees, there's definitely an energy there of not necessarily jumping in and taking the first step. I think manifestors are the only ones who end up kind of having that idea that you jump into something. But most of them, it's just like, no, wait for the invitation. Wait for somebody to basically you're responding. So it's being in a space of responding rather than initiating. And I think that's what we're called to be in right now. I mean, we are responding to whatever that intuitive call is within ourselves. We're responding to that creative urge, or we're responding to whatever the crisis might be that we need to change. But it's saying that we need to be open to what's being spoken to us, because it's going to say, like, hey, okay, especially you don't necessarily want to do things the same old way. What's the new way? And in your mind, you might be saying, well, yes, but obviously this is the thing I have to do. And it may be saying, well, maybe that's not the thing you have to do. Maybe you need to think about it differently. Now, I know that's a bit vague and abstract, but it's going to depend on the person, what's going on. Like, for me, I'm feeling this is the obvious next step. And I don't necessarily think that my guides are saying that it's not, but it's kind of saying, well, does that need to be your priority right now? Like, and what my mind is trying to do is project and say, well, what is this creative thing? Why is that more important than the things I need to do for my livelihood right now? And it almost seems to be saying, yeah, you're going to have the stuff you need for your livelihood. Don't worry about that. Like, just worry about the things we tell you to worry about, and you'll fit that other stuff in. It's kind of that kind of an energy. So, I don't know. Interesting. A little bit of an exploration together today on this live stream, because I'm not, because I was just kind of like, okay, when I was getting these messages, I'm like, all right, well, what do you want me to say about that? Because I'm not even sure what I think about that. But that seems to be what the universe is saying right now. So, very, very interesting. So anyway, yeah, we're almost to the end of the live stream. Yes, needed this exploration. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I have the intuitive development class this weekend. Pat, I know you're in for that. Anybody else watching this who potentially wants to join that, people can join individually. Actually, that's the other thing I got to do today is update the guest list for that so that everybody gets the Zoom links. Because it doesn't send them out unless people are manually added to the guest list. People who bought tickets in advance. This is, basically I have to, woohoo. Yeah, I have to, basically Wix is doing its usual thing of telling me to set something up a certain way and then actually creating a lot of manual work for me. So anyway, I'm going to take care of that this morning as well as the other. And yes, me please. Oh yeah, you're definitely on. It's you. Let's see. I think you, Ali, and Suda are the ones who are definitely on. And Joanne. Joanne's on. So that'll at least be. I think it'll be the four of us. So that will be. So we'll see how it goes this weekend. And yeah, and I got to make sure I have all my notes together and stuff for that. But. So we'll see. And like I said, anybody else who wants to join us, people are perfectly welcome. Like I said, the way it's tailored is that, you don't necessarily have to take every class in order. That's kind of the thing. For the link. Oh, yes, you for the link. Yeah, last time I think... Well, see, when I read it on the thing, they said, oh, well, it's going to be the same link for all 10 classes. And then it turns out that's a lie. So, I have to... Yeah, I still have a lot of time to sit down with Wix, but because of a lot of this other stuff that's been going on, I've been not... I'm not... There's all these little pieces that need to be kind of dealt with, and I'm just... time is slipping away from me in terms of getting them done. So yeah, I have to focus on that today. Yesterday with the headache, that kind of put me back a little bit. But anyway, enough about me. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great. Today is Saturday. Yeah, have a great weekend. Like I said, some of you I'll see tomorrow, and I know I'll be back here on tomorrow morning for another morning coffee, and we'll see what comes up for this. I'm so sorry for you for this. Oh, well, it's fine. It's just, like I've said about Wix, there's things I like about it, and there's things I absolutely hate about it, but they are the best one-stop kind of setup. They've been for what it is that I need to do. So I'm kind of like, I'm just kind of hoping I can complain enough about stuff that maybe their developers will eventually fix it. So anyway, all of you have a great Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.